Welcome to the Infinite Evolution Podcast, where you'll receive keys and codes to help you unlock your next level of joy, radiance, health, wealth, intuition, embodiment, and soul purpose. This is a space for lightworkers, healers, spiritual entrepreneurs, and anyone who wants to share their soul gifts with the world. We'll be exploring personal, spiritual, and professional growth and ascension through both the esoteric and magical and the tangible and practical. I'm Casey Aileen Knight, coach, mentor, as well as divine channel and soul gift activator. I founded the Luminous Evolution brand to help you elevate your business and beingness and light up the world. So glad you're here. Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful ones. Welcome back. We are going to be diving into the redemption arc of the Ascension today. And I am overjoyed to be having a conversation with Stashia Jeanette, Ascension Oracle Vii, who is the creator of the ViiSquad Oracle deck. And she's the owner of Ascension With Vii Podcast, and she is a spiritual advisor who I just have the most amazing conversations with. So this is going to be so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Thank you for setting the tone in the space and inviting me to be a part of this with you.
Oh my goodness. I had the pleasure of being on your podcast a few months ago, and I was like, we need to continue the conversation. I can't even remember what we were speaking about.
But it was great. It was magical.
So
it was a magical time.
Yeah, inviting everybody to go over and check out your podcast because our episode and all of the episodes are fire. But today we're going to be talking specifically about Ascension, the Ascension process, what it's like going through the different dimensional or frequencies, or I like to also think of them as densities, densities.
Yes.
And we'll talk about the redemption line. And I am just so excited to dive in.
Yes.
It has been a wild ride for everybody on this planet for the last while. And, right now it is still just as energetically intense as ever, but it's all happening purposefully. And
purposefully
bring that in, right? It's not happening to us. Well, it is.
Right.
But
it's happening for us. Yes. Yes. It's all happening in divine orchestration and on divine timing, according to plan, but it definitely can feel like, why is this happening to we do this thing of like, why me? And why is this happening to me? Especially when, you start, when you start going into your awakening and ascension. I mean, it's some rough, it's some rough things that, I always say your awakening happens because you usually experience something that's like traumatic or traumatizing, that shakes your soul, awakens your soul to the, to the core. And it's like, oh my God, what just happened? I don't know many people who had their spiritual awakening process or joined the, started this ascension journey through something like really fun and positive and happy. To this day, I mean, maybe you, Casey, have heard of people going, through the ascension process or having an awakening through like a really positive experience. But from my experience thus far, I've not heard one person tell me like, oh yeah, it was like a great time for me. It was amazing.
Yeah, usually people need something to shake them into this next level because we are creatures of comfort who don't like leaving our comfort zone.
Right.
And the reframe for me is always like, well, we do love learning and we do love growing, especially not from the ego level that's trying to keep us safe, but the higher levels that, actually wanted to come and learn and grow and expand and explore. So it usually is dramatic. I am the exception to that I know, though. So it's more though that I did have, of course, there's been series of like expansions and
Right.
awakenings in my life, but I
Exactly.
came in with soul remembrance of why I was
Yes.
here to
Yes.
a degree. So like I don't remember ever having that like I'm asleep. No, I'm awake.
And then wake up. Right. Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think we talked about this also, like same with me, but like to your point, that through the process, there's been, the expansion points, the death and rebirth parts where it's like, oh God, oh, this is happening again. Oh, it's this, but for a lot of people that I have spoken to and experienced in my lifetime up to this point, a lot of them, will have not had what we have had of this. We came into the world knowing it's been I was doing one thing, I was part of the regular 9 to 5, and I was doing my thing and everything was hunky dory and I was married and I had kids. And then one day, like things just fell off the handle, and then my life was never the same, and bam, and then now here I am doing the spirituality process. And I think that's probably the more difficult path, honestly. It's gotta be.
Yeah, absolutely. I have recently been talking about this, saying I cannot even imagine
Yeah.
waking up over the last 4 years or two
four
years
years
or right
four
now. I mean, there's so much information. It's so much more complicated. The world is so much crazier.
Yeah.
Those souls are badass. Like
Yes.
truly. Like we had the time to prepare, do it slowly. Back in the day when the internet was barely a thing and we were just like reading books and maybe connecting in
Right.
person.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And it but also in the same breath is like now it's like again, I spoke to a woman last week and she was like, I don't know what's happening, but all I know is that nothing is the same. And I feel like I'm looking at a whole bunch of gremlins around me. Literally, this is what she said. I feel like everyone's a whole bunch of gremlins around me and everything is just terrible. And she's like, I just thought everything I thought was a steak was just like a turd. And it's just bad. Everything just looks and feels like a turd. And I don't know how to get out of this. And I was like, so what happened? And she was like, yeah, I lost my job. And then the guy that I was married to for this amount of time ended up like just one day and was like, oh, I'm getting a divorce. And then and then she was like, and then everything just fell apart. And now she's like, I can't see anything in the world the same. And I was like, yeah, you're going through your awakening process. And she was like, when does it stop? Like, is this is just a continuous process now, you there's no going back. You can't unsee it. And, but she was like, I just feel like I got a lot to catch up on. Like, kinda, kinda.
That is the wild part. But also for anyone who's at that level of the process, please
Yeah.
understand that is not how it stays. Typically,
Days,
if
correct.
you do the shadow work, if you do the
Yes.
healing and you clear out all of the stuff that is not made of truth,
Right.
then you get to have experiences with the divine, with
Yes.
divine love that makes it all so worthwhile. And you're just like,
Yes.
oh, this is better than I could ever imagine. So if
Right.
you are at the part that really sucks,
That's that.
keep
Keep
going.
going. Yes. Yeah. That's why I said I'm like, listen, she's like, does it get better? Yeah, it does. But like you gotta keep going. Like, I don't know that. Like, yeah, you have to keep going and you have to face the things that, you know, the shadow work part. This is getting ahead in conversation. We'll get to it about the redemption line thing. But one of the things that I frequently tell some of the people that are in the redemption line, or that I hear frequently from people in the redemption line, is that, see, this is exactly why I didn't consciously sign up from the beginning to do the ascension. Like, because this part here, doing the shadow work, it requires you to face a lot of the things that you would rather not face, traumas and pains and sufferings and you know parts of yourself that you've hidden from childhood and things of that nature, because whatever the case may be, but beyond that top layer of like muck and like things that you find that are unacceptable or scary, are like all these hidden gems and nuggets and magical things about yourself, like undiscovered parts of yourself that you didn't know were there. And and then as soon as you tap into that, then you start like putting the pieces back together of becoming your highest self and your authentic self. And then and then you can pop out and be like, I'm here and I've arrived, what's up? I'm here, and it's like it's a great thing, but it just seems like that that top layer of like muck and grime when you first open that Pandora's box of, discovering the shadow self and doing the shadow work it can be overwhelming for, everyone. It's not even just like nobody, everyone literally has that same experience. It's an overwhelming and it's kind of like a daunting thing. But I do frequently hear that where, they're like, see, exactly this is why a lot of people don't sign up to do it, because they don't want to dive into the top layer, but it's just the top layer. That's it.
Absolutely. Like when you turn the lights on in a closet that you haven't cleaned out for a while and it's just filthy and you're like, oh, I should not have done that. But you can't unsee what's in there. So even if you turn the lights back off, you're going to know.
It's still there. It's still there.
Exactly. So we have to go through it.
Yes. I told somebody, I said, like, a lot of times the Pandora's box of the shadow is like your as a child, you had the fear of like the monster under the bed, but then the monster under the bed never left. It just became the monster in your head, and only until you open up the Pandora's box and dive into it that you realize like, oh, it's not that bad. And then you and that other part of you get to become this whole new being, It's great.
Fresh and new and shiny, but also it's the return to the original template and light that you always have been as
that you've
well.
That you've literally always been, but for whatever the world, this earth just made a lot of us, almost all of us, I would say, suppress and hide who and what we truly are, because I feel like when we go into school, school sets you up for like the indoctrination of like becoming like a minion of the earth. It starts the process of like slowly removing who and what you truly are, and then it just, you start being told what you can and cannot be, what you can and cannot do, what is and what is not possible, like from a really young age. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's this whole system that's been purposely set up to make people these very complacent and moldable cookie cutter little like minions. I'm trying to find a different word for it here, but like I'm struggling. It's this though. It's like all I see is, is like they go into the conveyor belt, like all like unicorns and like sparkly and like turquoise and blue and green and hot pink. And then they come out the other side of the conveyor belt and this like gray blob, like, and then it's just, and then at the end of the day, all the ascension process then makes you have to go essentially undo all that the conveyor belt did to become back that bright pink and blue unicorn. It's just like getting back to the basics of what you were, but the world told you couldn't be.
Yeah, with so much more wisdom for having done that process. So a lot of us needed to go through that process to have the experience of deprogramming ourselves from all those programs. The
Yeah.
new kids coming in, a lot of them, not all of them, but they're having a different experience because a lot of them have come into families like mine. My daughter
Correct.
is,
Correct.
if there's programming coming in, because I know what that looks like, I can be like, okay, no,
Oh no.
actually, here
Yes.
is what is true. And they have these new templates and
Hmm.
they're
Hmm.
going to have a completely different experience. And then they're going to raise the next generation. So I like to think everything that you said is so true. And there's also this next level that I like to remember about our highest selves and our souls coming in to play it like a video game where we take these human
Yes.
avatars,
Yes.
go through challenges for the plot, for
Yes.
the excitement, for the hero's
Yes.
journey, because otherwise it would be a really boring game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, like, from the highest levels, we're doing it to ourselves so we can
Yes.
have some fun. And there has
Yeah.
to be drama, there has to
There
be
has
challenge,
to
there
be.
has to be villains for it
Yes.
to be an exciting game. But we're
Game.
also like switching to a new game or a new movie or a new
Right.
experience in this new paradigm with the Ascension right now. So
Right.
the switch over is
That's
the tricky part.
that's what it, yeah, that's what it is. It's literally like it's almost like it's keeping with the video game example here. It's almost like you're playing this one game, but then all of a sudden in the like you get to the one point in the one level in the game that you've been playing for however many years of life, and then all of a sudden the new game drops in like as you're as you're still playing the old one, and then you're like, wait, what happened?
All
This
the
is
rules changed. It's a
literally
software update, right?
because it,
Actually, going beyond that, a lot of what I know I've experienced and I walk my clients through this is it's not just
yes,
a software update. That happens all the time. It's actually pretty
this is
easy.
like a
It's the
whole system.
operating system.
No, that's
Yeah.
like yes, yes. I literally had a video. I had an Oracle video. One of my videos that I had on YouTube. I said I was like the entire old operating system, and I gave the example that it was like you have a MacBook, right? You know, like a MacBook Pro, and then you, but it was like from 2000. But the whole operating system that 2000 year 2000 MacBook Pro was running on like has come to an end, and no more updates are going to be given to it. So like literally it can't function anymore. It doesn't even
Mhm.
turn on. Like it's just because nothing else is being poured into that. But I gave that example as like for the old world, like the whole operating system is just done. Like the whole is just like null and void. And then now it's this whole brand new operating system, but the what's happening is the people that are still on the old operating system are like, wait, like how do I get to this and that, and it's you have to go through the ascension process. There's a way to it, but you just have to do the process. You have to go through the steps of it. But it's not even a new update, it's a whole entire new system.
Mhm. Yeah, going from that old paradigm way of thinking, acting, processing information even
Yeah.
is so odd for people because they got so used to doing it the old way.
Yeah.
One thing that's really been happening for us in this process is going from trying to store all of our memory in our bodies, in our cells, in our
Yes.
tissues, in
Yes.
our RAM,
Yes.
to actually operating from the cloud and streaming everything from
Yes.
our higher consciousness,
Yes.
which it's reflected in how we actually had our technology advance
Yes.
too, which is wild to see, but
We
same, same.
literally, Casey, that's a great point here, honestly, because I I was wondering, I've said frequently that there's this kind of, our inner world reflects the outer world. And I've just been sitting back and like observing, even with I think it's the PS5 that came out, and and a lot of the systems were just, where they don't have the discs. anymore. It's all just like cloud gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And Xbox did the same thing. And I took note and I was like, this is it can't be a coincidence. Like it can't. It can't be.
And quantum computing has just dropped. So, like, where are we headed?
Right. So what does that mean? Like what?
Tapping into the multidimensionality and remembering that we are everything everywhere all at once. It's
All at
coming through the
once.
media. It's coming
Yes.
through our technology because, yeah, as within, so without, as
So
above, so below. It's
yes.
so fun to witness. And I know
Yes.
people are looking at the world right now and their personal life, if they're really in that either dark night of the soul or they've just woken up and they're like, it's chaos, nothing is as it seems. Oh my gosh, everything was a lie. And they're going through that deconstruction. They
Yes.
can't probably yet read and feel and see the energy or feel
Yeah.
where we're headed.
Right.
And that's what is the most beautiful blessing I think that I have is I've always, and I'm sure you have too, being able to feel the
Yes.
future, see it
Yes.
and know what it's
Yeah.
gonna be like and where we're headed. So I'd love to hear your take on what the energy is going to be like and feel like versus what it has been.
Yeah. So I mean, first off the bat, like the what it has been so heavy, like heavy, dark feeling, heavy, like having ankle weights and chains on you. And every time, I mean, now I'm able to go, and maybe you're also able to do this, I'm sure, of moving through different dimensions and densities and frequencies, right?
Mm.
But this is, something that I do frequently every day, because I have people who are at different points, that I
Mhm.
interact with. And when I am in some of the lower frequencies or densities or the heavier frequencies or densities, and I come back to my center of where I'm at and I can tap into the energy of the new world, it's so much more liberating. It's exciting. It's empowering. It feels good. It feels happy. It's like an overwhelming explosion of love and unity and oneness. It feels like, you know, it's like going from like a hard day's work, out on the battlefield, and then coming back in and immediately being embraced by, my star family and everyone, and being able to just to feel that. It's exciting, and for the first time in a really long time, it makes me feel very hopeful for where we're going. And in a nutshell, it's hopeful, whereas I think, again, especially right now, we're coming up upon that change of political things happening. And I think a lot of people right now are in this, thing of thinking like, oh, well, things are going to be terrible. And it's this, that, and the third, but that's not it. Like it's a lot of really good things happening, but unfortunately there is this clear out that has to take place first. And I'm not going to lie to people, like I feel that heavily. I'm in it, I see it, I walk it, I'm boots to the ground in it. A lot of what I do is a part of still, what's happening there. And it is, there will be times of a lot of kind of, it's deconstruction that's
Mhm.
taking place, because unfortunately this world was built upon a lot of smoke and mirrors and illusions. And in order for this transition to take place, the falsities, the smoke and mirrors, the corruption, the beings and entities that cannot be, have to be removed. There is this deconstruction that has to take place. And that's just part of it, but it's not a forever thing. And it's not like it's not for people to just be like, oh, this is it. And, nothing, oh, we can't go up from here. And it's not that, but you literally have to, you have to kind of clean out first before you can enter into the new. It's kind of like there's these, what is this that I'm seeing? It's this like a decontamination a chamber that you step into prior to being able to like exit out into other worlds. It's this, but it's like the entire planet and the people of it have to go through this first before being granted access out into because it's just
I watch a lot of sci-fi, so I am with you 100%. And like before we can be readmitted to the galactic fold, and we have to be decontaminated to bring all of our germs with us.
I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to just explain what I'm seeing and what they're showing me and giving me, but like it sounds funny to say it out loud. It's literally this. They're like, look, y'all can't come over here with all the old world stuff that y'all had going on. You need to be with it and back in your center and in your divinity, your divine authority. You need to remember who and what you are. Don't come over here playing games. It's this.
Exactly. Well, remembering our multidimensionality will include being able to connect with these beings that we have been separated from for so long. Earth has been in this like
containment
containment field because we chose to go through the process of descending from our awareness of unity into these lower, denser experiences that were absolutely necessary for the evolution and growth and learning of the universe. So it's not that it was wrong and bad. It's that we wanted to, from our highest levels, explore what it would feel like to be in such density and then ascend from it. Right? So at the same time, that was fraught with all kinds of shit.
Like, so much shit.
But again, for the plot of the movie, for the plot of the video game, we needed the challenges. We needed to have all of those, little bosses to defeat and the big bosses, right?
Like it is funny though, like to see again, like it's kind of like being in what's it called? What is this? This is the crow's nest on a ship. Like being able to, to have like the lookout of seeing, all the things from the zoomed out perspective. It's funny, like, I see it and I understand it and then you get it. And it's, but it is interesting to see the process take place and to be both the observer and the operator at the same time. I said the other day that there was this, I had this remembering of being able to see through different people and lifetimes. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that I was this, what do they call it? Like the guy that brings like the milk to people in like the 50s or something. Right. Okay. And yeah. And, and then I came back and I was like, what was the point of me? Why did I need to remember that? What was the point of me remembering this? But it's like little things like this that have been happening where but it is this remembering of being everywhere, everyone, all at once. It's this, but it is an interesting ride to be on and consciously remember what's happening at the same time while this collective ascension and deconstruction is happening at the same place. It's a lot to take in.
I'm really grateful at this juncture that I studied anthropology, sociocultural anthropology, when I went to university, because that is how I see myself we
Mhm.
talk about in anthropology being a participant observer of a culture so you can understand it
Yeah,
fully and be immersed in it instead of seeing it only as an outsider. And for those
exactly.
of us that come from different dimensional spaces and places and planetary systems and frequencies, which we're legion, there's so many of us here, and there are
Right.
people that are native to earth and are earth seeds and souls who were created to start their journey off here, who will go to other places later, although before and after is kind of only in this linear time because it again is all happening all at once.
All at
But
once.
it really is an interesting position to be in, to be the witness and observer, but also to be and remember your divinity, right? Remember your
Yes.
multidimensionality, but then be human at the same time. And I think this is an interesting conversation where a lot of people that we are supporting are really in their ascension journey, but a lot
Yes.
of the light workers and oracles and star seeds and mystics, we are really on more of a descension journey where we are bringing, our cosmic magic down to our earth realm and to our human body and really going like, oh,
Yes.
what is this? How do I be
Oh,
fully
yes.
human and really experience that?
Yes. I told my mother the other day, I said, I said I had this realization or this theory. I say a lot of things are theory, I have these, I'm like, I have this theory, this thought that I was like, there's these else is needing to learn how to be able to, connect with their higher self and but I said I feel like I'm having to learn how to stay in my body,
Mm.
and I said because a lot of people aren't a lot of people are too much what's happening. I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this. A lot of people are used to being very much in their human body, attached to the physical world, where I'm very much the opposite, where I'm more outside of my body and into the spiritual,
Mhm.
used to being everywhere else
Mhm.
more so than I am to be, here and just in my body all the time. And it's very much this opposite, kind of what you just said. And I just told my mother this the other day, and I said it's an interesting thing where most people are learning on their ascension process, but for me it's very much this like deep, like this bringing down everything from the from the higher realms and the higher frequencies and things into the right here to connect it, like connecting the as above to the so below.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is we have so much to learn from each other, these codes that we are
Yes.
exchanging, and we're all actually doing the same thing, which is learning how to be human and divine at the same time and have some more
Yes.
freaking fun with it.
Yes. Yes. It's like a whole big I don't know, like a whole big experiment at once,
Mhm.
but I think right now the biggest thing that a lot of people are having to accept and realize is that a lot of things that we thought we knew, we didn't know.
Mm.
A lot of the things that we thought was absolute and true, is not. And even within ourselves, what we thought we could or could not do, or what we thought we were and were not capable of doing or becoming, a lot of that's just being, very quickly stripped off. And, it's like, no, 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 you can do anything and you are limitless and you are able to do this, that, and the third. Like, oh, you want to manifest this, or you want to do this, or you want to become this, or you want to bring that into the world, do it. And you can, and it's like reparenting yourself the way that the kind of how you're parenting your kids and how the next generation will be parenting your kids. But it's like your higher self is the one that's parenting you, parenting
Mhm.
your inner child. And me personally, that's something along my ascension journey that I've had to go through is allowing my higher self to nurture and raise and heal my inner child, because at 32, 92 was when I was born, we talked about this off camera, but like, this was not how we were brought up, the world was different, way different then. And so a lot of those things that, I wasn't able to outwardly express as a child, it affects you as an adult. And that's one thing, I very much harp on. That's very much one of my passionate things to talk about is, doing this inner child healing, because it's really important. It's really, really important to your ascension journey, is really important to your becoming your highest self in general, because a lot of things from your childhood can affect you and hold you back and kind of keep you stagnant and frozen and prevent you from doing certain things out of fear. So that's been one of the biggest steps, I think, for me, is allowing that process to happen.
Absolutely. And I think as children, we're the closest thing to the, innate divinity
Exactly.
we can get. And so the wounded inner child is the one that's experiencing the density, but releasing and healing all that wounding and density liberates your what I call the inner rainbow star child, who feels like they can do anything because they remember that.
Yes.
But we also get to just make sure we're not only focusing on the inner child, because we have an inner multidimensional, every aspect of ourselves, every, from newborn to last week. And we can work with these different multidimensional aspects and go in and be like, hey, inner 17-year-old.
Yeah.
What did you need that you didn't receive, and give it to ourselves? Hey,
yes.
Inner, for my inner 32-year-old, 33-year-old, experienced having a kid and realizing what I had gone through as a kid. And, my inner 37-year-old went, oh my God, I didn't receive the level of love that I am giving right now to my child. And I had to go and heal her. Like there is just all of it.
Yeah, Casey, now that you mentioned that, again, a lot of things that you say, like I never have the right wording for some of the experiences that I've gone through. But honestly, there have been times where literally exactly this happened. And I'm like, what am I doing right now? And I would go through, honestly, kind of like those teenage temper tantrums, like on my own. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? What am I doing? And it's like what you just said, like parts of me, different ages of me that needed, whatever that I just suppressed or didn't, didn't acknowledge or didn't give to during those times. Yes, that's it, Casey.
That's what I love teaching in my certification programs, is to help people not just do it for themselves, but that's part of it, but also do this for other people and consciously go in and be the spirit guide that you needed at that time to give you all of the love, the support, the compassion, etc., that you did not have. Because basically all these challenges, all of these things that happen to us, they only turn into a trauma if we feel unsupported through the process. So if we can go back, time travel astrally, and give ourselves the support that we needed, we heal the trauma, and it just becomes the experience we get to bring the wisdom forward from.
Yeah. See, Casey, like you have the wording. I'm like, you have the wording for like, I just experienced the things. And then I'm like, what was that? What am I doing? What was that? What did I just do? And I thank you for putting the words to the experience for me, because again, a lot of stuff, I just allow things to happen. And I hardly ever, like question it. I'm just like, all right, so we're doing this. And I just go on. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
That is the flow, and that's how you get to operate. I just have had an additional 10 years of practice and study and bringing the words through. And when I went through it myself, I didn't always have the words. But then when I started coaching and teaching, I brought the words through because I would be able to see what was happening. See,
that's it. That's the component that you like. And I I guess I do have it. And again, when I'm talking to other people, when I see it right in other people, but when it's me that's going through it at the time, I'm like, what am I doing? What is this? What is this called? Also doing a lot of things. I think you mentioned something about the quantums earlier, but a lot of the things that I've been doing, like in like a quantum physics type of world or realm, I had no idea what these, obviously the scientific terms or wordage for it was, but I could see it and I could describe it, but I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, I don't know what the words are for it, but recently that's something that I've been able to, like, I'm like, oh, these are the labels for this, and this is the wording for that. But only when, again, describing it or seeing it in somebody else. Like, oh, that's what you're doing.
It is a really
I don't
fun
know.
process, though, to be channeling or experiencing it organically and innately for yourself first, and then getting
Right.
the validation from other people that it's a real thing,
Yeah.
as opposed
Yeah.
to book learning it or having someone tell you, and then you're
Exactly.
like operating from this headspace instead of the embodied wisdom space.
Embodiment. Do you feel like that's better? Like to be able to firsthand experience stuff?
I think we need all of it, but
Right.
too many of us have glamorized or idolized the knowledge from an intellectual place, which is
Yeah.
great. And theories are fantastic, and we need teachers in universities and all of that. But the whole point of life and incarnation is embodied wisdom. So
Yeah.
going through it is a necessary part of it, because you can read a book about swimming, but that is not going to teach you how to swim.
Yeah. Right. Said that. I said that, and this woman was pissed because I said that. Pissed, so pissed off because she had like all these books that she had written and all these things, and I was like, but if you read a book on how to scuba dive, but then you go out there and you're given all the equipment to put on. Number one, do you know how to put the equipment on properly? And number two, when you jump in the ocean, are you going to know how to properly scuba dive? And she was like, well, I mean, like theoretically, like you don't have time to go through theories while you're in the while you're in the ocean right now. Like it's sink or swim now.
They can also be helpful to have a
Yes.
bit of an idea of what to expect. So it's not
Yes.
that intellectual knowledge and hearing someone else speak and tell their stories or reading about it isn't helpful. It is.
Yes.
It's just not the same,
It's not the same.
right? I personally understand the infinite, all that is, as pure consciousness and pure intellectual knowledge, omniscient and omnipresent of everything that could be.
Yes.
Deciding, though, to physicalize things so that you can
Yes.
have the embodied experience.
Experience.
Because
Yes.
again, knowing all without experiencing all is not the
It's
same.
not it.
Right? So
Yeah.
that's what we came here to do. And that's why
Yes.
there's all the good, all the bad, all the weird, all the boring stuff. It's so we can
Everything.
understand all of it.
Yes. And that's what I mean. And I say this and people slightly get offended by it, but like this is the truth. I say that like you should only go to hell once. You should only be in hell once, but while you're there, you should experience all the things, right? So you have the experience, you experience the things and the heavy densities and whatnot. And then you can be like, well, check that off the list, did that, and you can go on and move. You know what I'm saying? But like
I
what
do. And that's what Earth has been. It was our
yes.
opportunity to experience this density. And then we're like, okay, we feel like as a collective that we've gotten all that we need from it. We've learned the lesson. So now collectively, we've chosen to experience something new, which is the
Right.
rising out of density.
Correct. Ascension.
Yes. And to my knowledge, universally, typically that has to happen by through the death process. It has
Hmm.
not been done before that we have shifted out of such a physical density into
While
a lighter
alive.
density while alive. So
That's
this
what,
is an
yes,
experiment, and we're figuring
yes,
it out as we go along.
yes. That's what like literally, Casey, I need to speak to you more frequently instead of like me just again, instead of me just being like, again, this is one of the things that I got. And I was like, I don't. I'm pretty sure that most of the time, for people to access their Merkaba or their light body and be, doing all the things is you're usually not tethered to a physical body still. Like you're not still in a physical body while you're experiencing these things. And so this here happening where people are experiencing like all the steps of the ascension and going through this, that, and the third, and it while still having a physical body is like it's like a whole new experience that's taking place. And the and the entire time that I've gone through this, I thought, I wonder if other people think this too. Are people also like Casey, you said it just now of like, this has not been done before. But again, prior to me speaking to you, I'm like, I wonder if anyone else thinks like, is this a whole new experience that we're having here? Or is it just, because it's wild. It's a very interesting experience that we're having right now. But it's because there's a lot of us that we're now meant to, like you said earlier, bring what we're what what we have from the higher realms, the higher frequencies and densities, the new worlds into the current physical world. But obviously to do that, you still had to be in a physical vessel, so we're just here along on this ride. We're like a little ant farm.
Absolutely. And I freaking love it. So
Yeah.
that's the other thing. You have not reached the level in your awakening yet that you will if you hate your life, if you think all is
Right.
lost, if everything feels hard and dense and unfair and awful and all of that stuff, like we were saying before, keep freaking
Keep
going because after
going.
you remove the densities, the programs, the dramas, the traumas, the old stories, the ancestral stuff, the Akashic stuff, there's ton of purification that we have to do. There
Yeah.
is a point that you reach where you go, oh my gosh, this is
Oh.
delightful.
All right.
How
Oh.
much fun is this to be here right now? And you get to tap. Healing is just the freaking getting you back to baseline process. It's not the point. Your healing journey is not the whole point. After
Right.
that, you get to be this conscious creator of your life. And it is honestly, orgasmically, magically,
Magical.
abundantly fun. It's like fun's not even the right word, but like it gets so much better. It gets
Yeah.
better and better and better. And that has to happen internally before it
Hmm.
can happen in the external world. So I am speaking this out loud because people like you and so many other people that are listening right now are moving into this like space or have been here for a while where, yeah, a little bit of healing might keep occurring, but it's really now about seeing how we can be leaders, how we
Yeah.
can liberate ourselves from all of that old shit and
Yes.
turn it into gold and be like,
Yes.
now we're going to create from this place.
Yes. It's the I did a photo shoot in September for my birthday, and it was one of the two of the themes were from like the traditional tarot deck, the Rider Waite deck of the Magician and the Hermit. And the whole theme behind it was essentially like this process, like the ascension process. And then there, I also have the Empress, right? So it became from where you're in your darkness. I was in like a black dress, and there was a mirror also. So the point of having the mirror was obviously reflecting back who you are, what you really are. But the start of it was me being in this black dress of like, okay, this is your, like the shadow self, integrating the shadow self, and then hermit mode of going within and seeking and doing the healing and all the inner work. And then the next picture was the magician, right? So the magician in the mirror, but also bringing the as above to the so below, connecting and bridging the worlds, but also alchemizing the previous things. And the last picture was the Empress of like becoming the your divine self. And it is very much this process that's happening right now, and it is, but learning to become the magician and learning to be like, oh, okay, so I can take everything that I've gone through and now, turn it into X, Y, and Z, something really great that's going to benefit those who are also coming, because that's what a lot of us, I feel like, are here to be doing right now, is creating for those who are coming after us, who will need our experiences, our knowledges, our creations, the things of this nature, to help them along their journey, so that they too will know, like, oh, this is just part of it. This is things that, it's just par for the course. It's just rite of passage. It's just part of the process. And so,
Absolutely. Everything that we go through, if you're here as a leader, healer, teacher, oracle, whatever the word happens to be, you're doing it so that you can share those codes with other people for sure. And also when you're saying like, I have the words, it's like, yeah, because I went through it. And now for the last, decade or so, I've been helping other people through it.
do it.
And my clients come to me and I'll be able to tell a story. And they're like, that was so full of codes from my situation right here, right now. I'm like, yes, exactly. And you going through this
Yes.
situation is going to share the codes for the people that come after you. And we're
Right.
just all playing with that, right? That co-creative energy.
Like leaving the trail,
Mhm. Absolutely.
little lanterns
Ah,
of light along the way.
yeah, it is so glorious when we can be in that higher perspective and see it
Right.
from the crow's nest or from the higher self or the eagle
Yes.
perspective. And we can look down and we go, oh, it's all as
Oh,
it should be.
yes.
Even though from the ground floor, it's a chaotic
It's like,
freaking
yeah,
mess.
it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. You're looking around like, is this is this what's supposed to be happening right now? Like, did I take a wrong turn? What's happening? What's
Yeah,
happening right now?
when you're in the middle of purging everything, when you're like deep cleaning your house or your pantry, you have to pull everything out and it actually looks way more chaotic for a little while,
Everything.
right? And you're like, oh,
Yes. Yes.
done. Like it's such an essential part of the
Ugh.
process. So
It is
we are doing what we are supposed to be doing. So I hope
doing.
that gives people some comfort because it's not
Right.
easy. We can talk about it from the higher perspective and be like,
Right.
everything is well, but yeah, it sucks when you're
But it's
really in it.
it is like the bottom line of it is it is like there's a lot that you go through that it's, I mean, it sucks and it's rough, but it's a crucial and necessary step to becoming, who and what you were supposed to be, and who and what you've always been, and it's kind of like I said, in this rite of passage, when you get to you I just keep seeing that whole decontamination zone. Like you have to go through the things, before you can, pop out like the fresh daisy and the unicorn, and have access to all the ethereal magic, the
Mhm.
unlimited things. But it's worth it. It's so worth it.
Absolutely. And that's, the bigger version of the redemption arc that humanity is going through right now. But we also did tease at the beginning of our conversation the redemption line, which I know is a little bit different than that massive redemption arc. And I would love just so people aren't left hanging, like going like, oh, what was that? What was she talking about? Let's dive into that
What?
quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, so the redemption line is kind of like I gave you the explanation of, there were a lot of beings from many lifetimes ago that incarnated on Earth and then got trapped and enslaved on, kind of what we just talked about, the outdated world, the outdated system, with no hope of ascension, with no hope of, escaping or release from being prisoner to, I don't even know what you call these the powers that were on
Mhm.
on the old world. And so what I do, a part of what I do is kind of be this like liaison for a lot of beings that kind of just got screwed, and they got enslaved again into the old world. And I go and I try to give this, I'm like like you said, kind of like the mediator in between. And I'm like, okay, so what happened? What'd you do? And there's also there's like a spiritual asylum for the kind of quote unquote, the bad of the bad, the worst of the worst. And it's not even really that. It's just these beings have been here so long in this place, going through so much torment and torture over, things that they really had no choice in doing or saying. They just kind of went crazy, and so there's this spiritual asylum. I go and I speak with them, and I ask, hey, so what did you do? What is it what happened? And I kind of take their case to the Galactic Federation, so to speak, and say, hey, this is what happened, and what can we work out with them? And if they're willing to do the work to be a part of this ascension process, but not only that, but to provide spiritual protection and support for those who are in the ground, like boots to the ground here, the ground crew of those helping with this ascension project, the Earth project here, if they're willing to provide kind of that bodyguardage support for those, and and help them out along the way in the behind the scenes, we work out an arrangement for them to step onto the ascension path, to give them that opportunity to do the work to ascend. So this is the redemption line, and literally anybody can be a part of that. And if they're willing to do the work, and if they're willing, like I said, provide support for the ground crew of the people who are helping with the ascension process. And that's the redemption line.
Well, first off, thank you so much for doing that work, because it has been essential. And it just to give some more context to anyone who's listening and going like, how do beings get trapped? You know how we were talking about the decontamination zone before? Well,
yes.
Like Earth, and I can't remember if we said this on camera or off, but Earth became a quarantined area when we went through the process of choosing from the highest levels to descend into, the fall, exactly.
Like the fallen angels.
Density. So when that happened, Earth was basically quarantined from the multidimensional, so it wouldn't kind of infect a lot of the other places and spaces. And we were left not to our own devices, because our higher levels and teams and legions of support have been working with us to process us back. And you're obviously part of that team humanity. We've been all co-creating it and doing it together. But yeah, the beings that were trapped here were ones that didn't consciously agree to this plan, but wound up being stuck here when that quarantine happened. So
exactly,
it did go nuts over the, millennia of time. And so much of what has happened has been directly related to us being cut off from from source, from the divine, from the higher levels,
from our higher selves. Exactly. Purposely
for the plot, for the experience of it. But like when we reconnect everybody to source, or to remind them so they can tap back into the unified field and the quantum field and all of that stuff, where we can celebrate the differences, but remember that, we're all part of the same ecosystem. We're all part of the same experience. Then we can work together, like you're saying. So thank you so much for being a guide, a leader, a mediator, someone who is really supporting both in the back end of the ascension process and also out front, because you are sharing your wisdom, sharing your stories, sharing your codes, supporting other people. And I'd love for everybody to know where they can find you to hear more of you. So tell us where they should be looking and listening. And of course, I'll have all of the stuff in the show notes so they can just click on the links.
So I guess most people find me on Instagram. I have a business page. It's Ascension Oracle Vii LLC on Instagram. And then also my website is just ascensionoraclevii.com. So everyone can find me there. And then all the things that I have a book that's coming out on February 2nd of 2025. That is the New Earth Guidebook to Healing and Ascension. So it will cover all the things of shadow work and inner child healing and self-love, and essentially it's just the to the point, literally, like if you just were starting a job, a brand new job, and your boss hands you here's what you need to know about what's expected of you on this job. It's literally the same thing, very to the point. It's great for, if you have a short attention span like me. It's to the point. You get what you need to know, what's expected, what you can expect along this journey, some signs and symptoms that you might experience while you're having the awakening or ascension process. And then finally, because this was something that I was about to start doing when you came on my podcast, I think, and you kind of gave me the finger wag of get to it. You gave me the finger wag of like chop chop. It's now like chop chop. Later, I got started on creating my academy for courses. My first course of Shadow Work 101 is launching at the end of January. So finally doing that, and I'll have like resources and all the things and courses on the things that I am very knowledgeable and well adept to. That's happening. It is called the Ascension Academy of Metaphysics and Alchemy. So that can also be found on my website. And yeah.
Oh, congratulations on both of those massive projects. Oh my goodness. No wonder and we were talking about this before. We've been going through massive rebirth portals, but no wonder you have. If you were on the verge of birthing both of these new things into the world. And the titles are amazing. These resources sound so potent and powerful and absolutely needed. I love working with alchemy personally, and I, though, don't teach the basics. I love taking someone like you and helping you go to the next level and really fly in the multidimensional. I don't have the right coding, and it's not my job to teach the basics. So I am so excited that I'm going to be able to refer people to your book, to your academy, so that they can get that 101 level and really get the solid foundation. And then people can come and visit me when they are ready to.
Exactly. Once you're like, oh snap, I know what I'm doing in X, Y, and Z. Yes. And also, Casey, I'm so glad that literally like I met you when I was at the pivotal point of like, oh snap, what am I doing? Like I knew what I was doing, but again, I needed the finger wag.
I'm so grateful that I could show. I don't even remember doing that, but this is my guide. My role is to help the helpers, and like I really help with that descension. I like people have already ascended, or I help them with that part to reconnect to their multidimensionality. But then I'm like, let's talk descension. Let's go into the heart. Let's go into the lower energy centers, and let's talk sex, money, and power, and get your magic so tangible and physical so that you can do your work in the world. Because I like helping the people who are so metaphysical that it's like, no, let's physicalize this so you can have more fun here and have more impact and share your gifts. So I am celebrating all that you are doing. And this was such a fun conversation. I could talk to you for hours, days, all of it. But I will wrap up here just by saying people should also go and listen to your podcast, because it's just the way that you speak and the conversations that you have are so natural and engaging. And there's just so much richness in there for everybody. So go and follow Vii and just keep doing what you are doing. But like my challenge to you now that you're birthing these things is really to ask you, how much fucking fun can you have with it?
Like unlimitless fun.
Yeah. So go do that now. Because the hard
do it now. Yes.
Go have, like, I think we have all been through a really serious portal of the last 4 or 5 years. It's been really hard. It's been really heavy. We have been prepared for this, but the momentum heading forward is like even if other people are struggling, it doesn't mean you have to. Even if it feels
Right.
heavy and hard for other people, you don't have to live in that anymore.
Right. And I think I love that you said it, because again, this is what happened on my podcast. This is how the finger wag conversation came about. You sprinkled it with the honey and roses like you just did with this. But you totally, your higher self totally called out my higher self and was like, look, okay, so I understand it was like some really rough and really serious and really heavy stuff, but like now go play, go have fun. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
That is what I'm here to do. And this has been so delightful. Thank you for spending this time with me. I love you so much and what you're sharing with the world.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you for everything. Literally. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you. So,
all the loves.
All the love. Thanks everyone for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe and share this out to people that need to hear it. Tag us on social media. You can find us at The Luminous Evolution on Instagram. And keep the conversation going by joining my free sacred community, Luminous Evolution, on Facebook, and get a taste of my favorite tools and techniques inside my free Frequency Upgrade Academy. You can also join me inside my membership, mastermind, certification programs, or private coaching to be deeply supported on your evolutionary journey. Make sure to check out the links in the show notes, and cheers to your infinite, luminous evolution.